Okay, so for this first video, let's go ahead and just go through the bones of the skull, all the cranial and facial bones. Okay, so we start here, right, with the one that makes up our forehead, and this is our frontal bone. Just posterior to the frontal bone, you have your two parietal bones, and so the parietal bones are paired bones, so we have our left parietal bone and our right parietal bone. Then if we move down here, we can see, you can actually see part of the sphenoid right here, but we're going to look at the sphenoid from the internal view and then from the individual bone that's disarticulated from the skull. This bone right here, right, that's all of this. This is your temporal bone. This is the right temporal bone. We do have a left on the other side. And then here we have our occipital bone. And you can see that continues on back here to where you have this big foramen magnum. There we have our left temporal bone. And now let's look at the bones of the face. Okay. And then I'll show you the ethmoid bone in a little bit. So right here on the front, we have the two nasal bones. So you do have a left and a right nasal bone. Just inside here, the maxilla comes up here and all the way down here. So this would be the left maxilla. There's your right maxilla over here. And then what's missing here, because on most skulls it starts to deteriorate, is this little lacrimal bone that sits right here. So I'm going to grab the other skull real quick, oops, and show you that right there we can see our lacrimal bone. Okay, so it is there. All right. So if all this here is our maxilla, then we also have our zygomatic bone right here. And then of course this down here is the mandible. Now the mandible we only have one of, so you don't have right or left, but the zygomatics we do have a right and a left. So the left zygomatic and the right zygomatic. Okay. Underneath we can also see these two bones right here and here. These are our palatine bones. Again, we do have a right and a left. And then the last bone would be, let me take this off. The last bone would be this bone that sits right here, the ethmoid bone. Let me see if it looks better in our other skull. So right here, this is where the ethmoid bone sits. Okay. And so that's all of the bones of the skull.